The deep dive. Today, we're getting in something maybe a bit heavy sounding at first, a bit melancholic, but honestly, I think it offers a really clarifying way to look at, being human. We're going to unpack what a pretty influential 19th century German philosopher called, apparently, the saddest phrase in the history of philosophy.
Intriguing start.
Right. That philosopher is Arthur Schopenhauer. And the concept is ennui. We usually just say boredom.
Yeah, but it's more than just like having nothing to do for 5 minutes.
Exactly. For Schopenhauer, it's fundamental, it's deep, it's inescapable, apparently, and key to understanding why we're always chasing happiness.
It really is. And our mission today, basically, is to dig into Schopenhauer's view on desire, suffering, and this specific idea of boredom. It's quite radical.
How so?
Well, it really clashes with older ideas, especially Plato's. And understanding the difference isn't just, academic.
Okay.
It actually matters for how you, listening, might think about finding contentment in relationships, work, just life. We want to figure out what boredom really tells us about desire itself.
Okay, sounds good. So let's jump straight into that central metaphor then. The sad one.
The pendulum.
The pendulum, yes. He put his whole worldview into this one sentence, originally in French, which kind of gives it that weight. Toute notre vie oscille comme un pendule de droite à gauche, de la souffrance à l'ennui.
Our whole life swings like a pendulum, from suffering to boredom.
Yeah, from suffering to boredom. That's supposedly the saddest phrase. So, okay, let's break that down. First swing, suffering. Schopenhauer says this comes straight from desire, from, lacking something, wanting what you don't have.
The gap between what is and what you want.
Precisely. And his examples are super direct, almost primal. He says, J'ai faim, il n'y a pas à manger. Souffrance. I'm hungry, no food. Suffering.
Basic. Physical.
Totally. Then, J'ai soif, il n'y a pas à boire. Souffrance. Thirsty, no drink. Suffering. And then the one that hits maybe closer to home for many, Je l'aime, elle ne m'aime pas. Souffrance.
Oof. Yeah, unrequited love. Classic suffering.
Right. It's that ache of wanting something, someone that just isn't there. That's suffering for him. It drives our unhappiness.
Okay, so that's one side. Suffering from lack.
Yeah.
But the pendulum swings back.
It does. To the other side, boredom, or l'ennui, as he puts it.
And this is the really tricky part. Because in his view, boredom isn't happiness.
No.
But it's not really unhappiness either, not like the suffering we just talked about. It's what happens after you get what you wanted.
So the desire is fulfilled, the suffering from lack stops.
And then this void, this emptiness where you expected joy to be.
Okay.
The source we looked at calls it the absence of happiness at the very place of its expected presence. You thought achieving the goal would bring lasting satisfaction, but nope.
It uses that analogy, right, about a date.
Yeah. C'est quoi poignant? J'avais rendez-vous avec le bonheur, je suis de rendez-vous, le bonheur n'y est pas. I had a date with happiness, I showed up, happiness didn't.
Wow, so you're just left there.
Exactly. So, c'est pas que je sois malheureux, je ne suis ni heureux ni malheureux, simply je m'emmerde. It's not that I'm unhappy, I'm neither happy nor unhappy, I'm simply bored.
It sounds deeper than just regular boredom, though.
Oh, it is. It's almost existential. It points to this idea that maybe there's no ultimate endpoint, just this cycle. Strive, get, feel empty, strive again.
And this is where it starts to feel, well, really relevant. Because it's not just philosophy. It connects directly to everyday life, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Think about work, for instance.
Okay.
The suffering of the unemployed, that awful anxiety of needing a job.
Right. Pure lack.
Is mirrored, in Schopenhauer's view, by the boredom of the salaried employee. Once you have the job, the suffering stops. But the initial drive fades. And often, ennui sets in.
You got what you wanted, but the thrill is gone, sort of thing.
Pretty much. And the same applies, maybe surprisingly, to relationships.
How so?
Well, the intense heartache of wanting someone, or the pain of a breakup. That's suffering.
Definitely.
But once you're in the stable relationship, once that desire for companionship is met, the source points to the boredom of the couple.
That sounds harsh, but maybe realistic.
It's about normalizing it, I think. Saying it's not necessarily a sign your relationship is failing, but maybe just part of the deal, part of the human condition.
It is sobering, but maybe freeing. Like, it's okay to feel bored sometimes.
Exactly. And the source is really blunt about this. It basically says, forget the fairy tales.
Huh? Okay.
Il n'y a pas de couple où l'on ne s'ennuie jamais. Ça n'existe que dans les mauvais romans d'amour. There's no couple where you're never bored. That's just bad romance novels.
Not real life.
Not real life. Same for work. Il n'y a pas de métier où l'on ne s'ennuie jamais. Ça n'existe que dans les mauvais livres de management. No job is exciting 100% of the time. That's just bad management books talking.
So these perfect boredom-free lives, they're illusions.
According to this view, yeah, completely. Expecting them just sets you up for disappointment.
It reminds me of that quote from Alain, the French philosopher, early 20th century.
Oh, which one?
Le seul métier où l'on ne s'ennuie jamais, c'est celui qu'on ne fait pas. The only job where you're never bored is the one you don't actually do.
Huh. Yes, because it only exists in your imagination, untouched by reality.
Right. The dream job. So the source goes on to say, if someone tells you they're never bored at work or never bored in their relationship,
You should be suspicious.
pretty much. Ma première réaction, c'est de me dire encore un menteur. My first reaction is another liar. Or maybe someone who isn't really in it, like an inactive célibataire, someone inactive or single who hasn't lived the day-to-day reality.
It's tough for us to admit boredom, isn't it? It feels like failure.
Yeah, like something's wrong with us or the job or the person.
But Schopenhauer says, no, it's just the condition. And facing that lets us redefine what a happy life or relationship actually looks like.
So if boredom is inevitable, what does happy even mean then?
Well, it definitely doesn't mean zero boredom. That's just arrêter de rêver. Stop dreaming.
Okay, so what's the realistic version?
A happy couple, in this light, becomes one où l'on s'ennuie beaucoup moins à deux que tout seul.
Ah, okay. Where you get bored less together than you would alone.
Exactly. It's comparative. The boredom might still pop up, but it's significantly less oppressive or frequent because you're together.
Yeah.
That's already a win.
That makes sense. It's a lower, but maybe more achievable bar.
And then it takes it further. A really happy couple.
Yeah.
That's one où vous prenez beaucoup moins à deux qu'avec tous les autres, where you get bored less together than you would with anyone else.
Okay, so your partner is genuinely the least boring option available to you.
Right. And when you hit that point, the source says, it becomes franchement délicieux.
Yeah.
Truly delicious. It's not about perfection. It's about finding the relationship that minimizes ennui the most effectively for you.
That's actually quite a lovely way to think about it. Finding your least boring person.
And the same logic applies to work.
Right, so a happy job isn't one with zero boredom.
No way. Maybe it's a job where, surprisingly, on s'ennuie moins que pendant les vacances. You actually get less bored than on vacation.
Or maybe, moins que vous ne vous ennuierez pendant la retraite. Less bored than you would be in retirement.
It's about finding the situation where the pendulum swing towards boredom is, let's say, dampened, where it happens less often or less intensely than in your other likely alternatives.
It really reframes expectations. It's not about eliminating it, but managing it, choosing where it's least painful.
Precisely. And this whole reframing leads us back to that critique of older philosophy, especially Plato.
Right, you mentioned Schopenhauer saw himself as a disciple of Plato, but also found a limitation.
Yeah. Our source says Plato n'arrive pas à expliquer. He can't really explain how happy couples or happy workers can even exist sometimes.
Why not? What was Plato's issue?
Well, simplifying a lot, Plato often saw desire as stemming from lack, a yearning for some perfect ideal form that's beyond this world. Earthly things, earthly love, earthly work, they're always imperfect copies.
So, focused on the ideal, he couldn't really account for satisfaction in the mundane.
Kind of, yeah. His framework is great for understanding that striving, that suffering from imperfection, but it struggles with simple, everyday contentment found within that imperfection.
So the fact that happy couples and workers do exist.
That that uncontestable fact, it challenges Plato. If you are content in your relationship or job, it implies de n'être pas platonicien. You're operating outside that specific Platonic model of desire as lack.
So Plato's theory has a blind spot when it comes to this kind of achieved, relatively stable happiness.
It seems so. It suggests we need something more to explain the full picture.
Which is where the source says.
It says to really get these nuances, on a besoin d'une deuxième théorie du désir. We need a second theory of desire.
Not Plato's, but...
C'est celle de Spinoza. It's Spinoza's.
Okay, Spinoza. How does he differ?
Again, simplifying. Spinoza didn't focus so much on desire as lack, but more as conatus, this inherent striving or effort of a thing to persist in its own being, to increase its power of acting.
So desire is more active?
Yeah.
An affirmation?
Yeah, more like an internal drive, an expression of life force. Joy, for Spinoza, isn't just relief from suffering. It's an increase in your capacity to act, a feeling of enhanced vitality.
Ah, so that framework might better explain feeling content through engagement, even if things aren't perfect.
Exactly. It allows for a happiness found in doing, in connecting, in the relative improvement, being less bored together, feeling more alive in this job than another, rather than just the endpoint of fulfilling a lack. It fits that comparative idea we talked about.
Wow, okay, that's quite a shift. So, recapping this journey, Schopenhauer's pendulum redefines everything. Suffering is lack, boredom is the void after fulfillment.
And boredom isn't a failure, it's just part of the swing. Expected.
Which forces us to rethink happiness entirely, not as the absence of boredom,
But maybe as finding places, people, work, where you experience it less intensely or less often than the alternatives.
That leaves us with a really interesting thought, doesn't it?
Definitely. What if contentment isn't about chasing some impossible, boredom-free state?
Yeah. What if it's about consciously choosing your boredom, so to speak, finding the situations where it bothers you least?
It's about managing the pendulum, finding the relationships and activities where it swings less violently towards that ennui. Minimizing, not eliminating.
So for everyone listening, maybe reflect on that. How does this change how you see your own desires, your relationships, your job? Is the goal to escape boredom?
Or is it to find the place, the person, the work where you prefer to be bored? Just less often.
It's a different way to navigate. Moving beyond just feeling a lack, like Plato might suggest, towards something more like Spinoza's active engagement, finding the best relative fit. We hope this deep dive helps you think about the swings of your own pendulum.